where all the activities of the government are taken up, and how they are being functioning, that can be, and these can be termed as public office administration. Now, when we talk about an office, it might be a private office. Later in the class, I will try to explain you what is a private office and public office. First, we will try to understand the office, the importance of office, and the scope of the office, and what is the nature of the office. So whenever we talk about the office, whatever what the first thing what it comes into our mind is the activities what are being taken up in that office, and to perform each and every activity in the office, in the place of work, the most important medium of the taking up the work is the paper. Or we can say, when we talk about the office, every office invariably has paper as an important medium or instrument or tool of work. Why? Because when we talk about now, presently we use the mode or the electronic media or the gadgets whatever we are using today, that might be the laptops or the smartphones. All these is a present scenario, but on the overall scenario, when we talk about, it is the medium of communication or the medium of exchange of information, is the paper. So when we talk about an office, paper is the important medium. It can be termed as a medium, it can be termed as an instrument, or it can be termed as a tool. So whenever if we want to send a letter to somebody, then or it will be, the letter has to be typed on the paper. Or when you want, as a student, when you want to write the exams, when you want to perform your skill, a paper is needed. That is the answer booklet, where you answer all your give your answers, and where you get your grades. So, and to communicate also, now to write your exams, you have to have the a question paper. Now how this question paper comes? Through a paper only. So whatever the examiner asks you will be printed on the paper. So in an office, paper is the important medium, instrument, or as well as another tool to express the mode of work, or I can say the operations which are carried out in the place of work. So we can say that in an office, paper plays a very, very important role in the carrying of the activities, or in the performance of the activities, in a very, very systematical order, I can say. So that we can say as that paper is an important medium for the continuing the activities or performing the activities in the office. Now, where can be paper being used, extensively used at work, and how it can be extensively used at work? That is in receiving the information. As I told you, in receiving the information, that when the office gets the information from the other offices, it tries to get the information in which manner, that it tries to get the information through letters, in a material form, through papers only. So receiving of the information is through done by the paper. Then rewarding, then storing of the information also is being done through papers only. Because if you see the record rooms or the storage rooms or the stores, years back, store paper is being maintained, or the records are being maintained in the files, which are, and everything and every information will be put on the paper only. Then sorting of the information, that is all the information whatever the office receives cannot be put under one heading, and cannot be put under only one subject or in one file. So it has to be sorted, means which has to be put where. All information might not be important, and whatever important information might not be kept at one place. So these are the very, very important things which have to be kept in mind when we work in an office or when we are at a place of work. So, and conveying of information, this is a very, very important, I can say, that is conveying means what a person tries to explain to the opposite person, that is the thought process, the thought, whatever gets into our mind when we want to deliver it to the opposite person, what that is termed as conveying of the messages. So in an office, each information has to be conveyed to we can say to avoid disturbances, to avoid the communication gap, or not to create any misunderstandings. Then conveying of information through a paper or by a paper is very, very important, because it can be recorded, it can be maintained as a record or as a proof of information which has been shared. So in an office, paper plays a very, very important role, and it can through paper only, and the paper is termed as an instrument or a tool for conveying, as it is being extensively used, as it is extensively being used in the sharing of information or conveying of information or storing of the information, I can say. Now, when we talk about all these, the paper or the means of office or the place of work, whatever, then when we talk about the office, what actually is the role of the office and how office is very important to achieve the objectives of the society or of the organization. So when we talk about the office, if we say office is the center of information service, office is the center of information service. That is because when we talk about a government, for example, when we take a government office, in a government office, it is the center of information. That is what all, if for a particularly, if you take a particular department, then in that particular department, for example, if we take education department, now this education department deals with all the information related to the education in that state or in that area. That is right from the admissions, fee structures, recruitment of the faculty or the teachers, then salary, everything is being dealt by this education department. So we can say that as we have taken the example of the education department, we can say that education department, or I can say that the office of the education department is the center for information. Now, we can divide this information into many aspects, or we can say that how this office plays a very, very important role as a medium of information service. That is, it receives the in receiving of information, that is from all the centers or from all the sites, wherever it is needed, it receives the information, it receives the information. Now, when we have taken the education department, I would like to give a perfect example. Now, our university, Ambedkar Open University, we can take the perfect example of our university and explain the working and functioning of the office, where the university is the information center. The university is the information center where you get receiving of information takes place, that is from the university receives the information from everywhere, what is needed, that is from the government, from wherever the information has to be kept, that is what are the facilities which the government is providing for the students, how the students can be given better courses, all this can be, that is the receiving of information. Then recording of information. Recording of information means they have to maintain a record of that information received. They cannot just keep it away and they cannot put it at one side. They have to maintain when, where, how, why, all these questions. That is, from where they have received the information, from where they have received the information, where they have to store the information, where they have to proceed with that, how they have to proceed with that information. All this has to be recorded. Then the processing, as I told you, recording, that is keeping a we can say keeping a record of the information which has been received. Then processing of information is everything cannot be shared by everybody at every time. That is, if a UG student has come, the UG student has to be given only the information about the UG only, that is undergraduate only. They cannot be given information about the post graduations. That is, it is a waste of their energy and it is a waste of the time because it is not related to them. So, whatever information is shared, recorded, has to be processed. That is, which has to be given where, that is which information has to be shared by whom, where, when. So these questions have to be answered. Then storage of information. Storage of information is, now the university might have the passed out students, so the university has to maintain a record of the passed out students, and they have to maintain the record of the present students, and they have to maintain the record of the next academic year students as well, that is who have come up for admissions. That is, this all has to be stored because the passed out student might come up and say that I need some information when I received my memo, or when I got my graduation certificate or anything such that, then the university has to provide them with that relevant information. So storage of information is also very important. Then supply of information, that is, whenever it is needed, it has to deliver the information at the right time, right place, to the right person. That is, all rights. Supply of information to the right person at the right time and at the right place. Then only the information whatever has been shared has that importance at the right time. If not, if the time has if the at that right movement, if the information is not shared, then if after later on if it is shared also, the information will not have that importance because the time limit has crossed and it is not of worth of it. So because that is the reason that an office plays a very important role on based on these aspects, that is the supply of information, storage of information, processing of information. All this has to be kept in mind. Then the last one I can say is the office also has an important role of destruction of information. Destruction of information means, that is, outdated information has to be deleted. Outdated information which is not relevant for the organization, the information which is not relevant for the that institution or the office, has to be deleted or has to be kept aside, which does not have any relevance with the present scenario. So that has to be destruction, because this if the organization does not go for destruction, that is, if it does not go for the removal of the information, past information, then there might be a chaos in the system. That is, the storage capacity might go more. That is, the store might have more number of files, and it might create a chaos because of the number of files, and they might not be it might not be easy for the storage people to collect the rightful information at the right time because of the n number of the files being put up in that store. All these, the records may not be maintained properly because of these things, because of the of not deleting the files which are not necessary. So these are the things which are no, for everything we can say that there are merits and demerits, because when we talk about this destruction, there might be merits as well as demerits. The merits might be, we never know. The office people might never know that at times the important information might be there in that age old files, so which has some importance in the present scenario as well. So they might keep that old files for the to share the information. So that can be a merit to keep all this information, the age older information or age old files, to have an information regarding the past files. But moreover, apart from the merits, demerits might be more enough. Demerits might be more enough. Why? Because it occupies a space, it occupies the more of information. If more information is also there, the office people might not be able to in a position to process the information in a proper manner, because it is a time taking process, as it is a cumbersome procedure to follow. So there are many demerits also when they go for this information sharing. So destruction can have both merits as well as demerits, but comparatively, to when we talk about this, merits are less than the demerits, because now when we talk about all these, now when we talk about paper, the working of the office, nowadays we all are in the present. Now when I spoke about the office and the paper, that was a we can say age old one, or the nearly 5 years or 10 years back, or when we used to have more of paperwork. That is 10 years back when we used to have paperwork more. But now the usage of latest technology, the usage of LPG, I can say the introduction of these e-governance, electronic media, the sharing of information has moved far from, means we can say that now everywhere we see e-paper, that is paperless offices, paperless offices. Now, what do we mean, or what do we understand by the term paperless office? Paperless office means there is zero usage of paper. There is zero usage of paper, and or I can say that the least used paper, or because every material, every information has to be stored, or is being stored, I can say that is being stored in the systems, that is in the hard disk or in the pen drives, or and if we want to send in the information related as to a letter, or the emails are being used extensively. So everything this is termed as paperless office. Before, paper was extensively used as an instrument, as a tool, and as a medium when we talk about the public office administration way back. But presently, when we talk about public office administration in the present scenario, we talk about the e-paper or paperless. That is, all the information is stored in the computers, that is the hard disk, pen drives, mails, all this is been the information is stored. So CDs, all this, and moreover, we can say that there are more number of advantages compared to usage of paper. That is, the paperless office or the e-paper has become more extensively sorted out and used one way, and moreover, and every information can be shared to thousands of people in minutes. That is a more important advantageous thing of paperless thing. That is because now previously the paper was used and it has to be printed, a number of copies have to be printed, they have to be posted, and if they don't get that information, then again it has to be posted, then letters have to be used, and it was a cumbersome procedure to follow. But now, and time duration was more, decision making had a more time taking decision making was done, there was more of time taking process. But now, because of the usage of this information technology, the communication has become very very easy, and the information sharing of information in these offices, in these private offices or the public offices, has become a hassle free thing where they can work extensively. That is, on a and more of work hour. That is, I can just term it as that more of smart work is being done rather than hard work. That is, previously they used to sit and write manually, they used to type on the typewriters, on all this was a cumbersome procedures. But now, whereas information is moving in a faster rate to thousands of people in a very short period of time. So less information or more information to is reaching out to many people in shorter period of time. So we can say that the in the ancient time, or in the we can say that usage of paper is the traditional method of working of an office. The modern method of the working of an office is the usage of information technology, usage of the we can say the electronic media to share the information. So this can be the modern method of the information sharing or the working of the office as an information center. Now, when we talk about all these, then we have to understand the classification of office functions as well. Now, when we only say that of office does not only have the function of receiving of information, processing of information, or supplying of information, storage of information. About these also, the office has many other functions to perform. This is only one type of functioning of the office. So we have to classify the functions of the office under in two broad areas. That is, the primary functions of the office and the secondary functions of the office. Now, the primary functions of the office are receiving of information, recording of information, processing of information. This is the primary function of the office, because if it does not receive any information, then it does not have any work to do. Because everything, if we have information only, then we can work. If we don't know any information regarding anything, then there is no scope or no point of working only. So when there is sharing of information, when there is an sharing of information is done, then only the office will work. So, and receiving of information, then recording the information, what has been received, when it has been received, how it has been received, and whom to be the this information has to be shared, when, where, why, how, all these questions have to be answered, and as well as the processing. Okay. So the primary functions of the office are receiving of information, recording of information, and processing of information. Then we have the secondary classification of the office as well. The functioning of the office has the secondary functions. That is the planning, organizing, procurement of the stationery, all this. That is planning. Planning is the objectives and the goals of the office. That is every organization, or it might be the public or a private, or it might be a public enterprise, whichever it is, they should have a goal. They should have an objective to achieve. So that to achieve the objective, they should go for planning. Now, what do we understand by planning? Planning is defined as a mental process. That is, when, unless and until, that is, mental process means whatever thinking, the thinking process, whatever goes in one's brain, an individual's brain, and when it is put on the paper, or practically when it is being done or being implemented, until then it is termed as planning. Planning is the mental process or the thought process which takes place in the human brain, that is termed as planning. Unless and until there is no planning, can the organization work? No, the organization cannot work unless and until they have a proper plan. That is, how it has to be done, how the information has to be received, when it has to be received, how it has to be received, all this, and how to store the information, where to store the information. When they don't have a thorough plan in their mind, they cannot execute the things. So this has to be, the strategy has to be maintained or planned accordingly. That is termed as planning. Then we have organizing. Now, after planning, that is, as I told you, planning is a mental process, that is, the thought process which takes place in the human brain. After that, they have to organize the things, that is, executing the plan. That is, they have to bring about what all they had in their mind, the ideas, whatever the organization had in its mind, they have to bring all the things together to get the end product, that is organizing the things. For example, if you take in an office, an office has to be, if an office has to be set up, if an office has to be set up, how can it be done? It just, if we sit, if the person who wants to set up the office, if he just sits on the chair and think that it will be done, can it be done? No, it has to, he has to plan that from where he has to purchase the stationery, from where he has to bring the go for recruitment of the people, or when he has to bring about the people, then how he has to plan accordingly with the working of the workforce, whatever the workforce is needed. But all this has to be taken into consideration. So the office has to have the person who wants to set up an office, he has to go plan accordingly. Then he has to organize the things. That is, he has to appoint some people, he has to share his thoughts. After that only he can move forward. Then later on, he has to procure the stationery. That is, they cannot work under a roof and four walls. So they have to have tables and chairs. They have to have the computers, whatever is needed, the stationaries, whatever is need, the furniture, whatever is needed, we to execute their plans. So these are the secondary functions which are being done by the office to perform their activities or to achieve their targets. So So this can be the secondary functions. So the primary functions and the secondary functions. Primary functions are receiving, recording, and processing. Then the secondary functions are planning, organizing, and procurement of the stationery. Then we have the administration of public office. Administration of a public office. That is how the office works. That is as a group. That is the first important one is an administration. That is administration is planning, achieving a common goal. That is in a common perspective. Now, office works to achieve a common goal. That is, everybody, whoever works in the office, have a common goal. The office has a common goal. And individually also, each individual, whoever is working in the office, also have their personal goals. That is their personal targets. But on the whole, the office works for a common goal. That is, the first one is an they work as a group. That is where that is a common goal is kept, and everybody will work for that common goal only as a group. That is without any misunderstanding, without any parity, or without any partiality. All this they have to, and with more of transparency and accountability, the office has to work in accordingly as a group. Then we have the next important one, that is a postcop. Now in your earlier classes in the first year you might have studied about the acronym termed as POSTCORB. POSDCORB. This stands for P for planning, O for organizing, S for staffing, D for directing, Co for coordinating, R for reporting, B for budgeting. Now, this acronym was being put forward by Luther Gulick and Urwick. So this is termed as this acronym is termed as the POSTCORB. So now this is over the administration of public office. Then we will now talk about the importance of office. Now, till now, we discussed about the nature of the office, the scope of office, how the office works, what is how and how information sharing is important in an office, and how the objectives have to be achieved in the office. Then we have the importance of office. Now, for this, it acts as an office acts as an information center. Office acts as an information center and data bank. Now, when we talk about the government offices, they have a data bank. That is, all the citizens' information will be maintained by them. Hence, the public office is a data bank. That is, all the relevant information of every citizen is being stored, and whichever citizen needs any information, he can get the information from that particular office. Hence, office is an what is the importance of office? Office, the importance of office is first one is it acts as an information center and data bank. Then second important one is it acts as a channel of communication. It acts as a channel of communication because the whatever information a citizen, a common man, whenever he wants an information, he will just go to that particular office and he will collect the relevant information whatever is needed for him. And if you ask anybody, a common man, if you just go and ask anybody that I need some information regarding this, they just say, go to this government office, you will get the rightful information. Nowadays, there is, as I told you, the usage of more of the information technology. the usage of more of these e-governance, as we are in the government e-governance. What is e-governance or online governance? Or that is the information government at your doorstep, or government at the citizen's doorstep is the most important aspect I can say about the e-government. Now, presently, we are in the era of e-government or e-governance, where every information, whatever information needed by the citizen, he is just a click away from the government. That is, that citizen can just open the on the site of that government and click the link, and he will be getting the rightful information in within no time. So this is the channel of communication. That is all the information, whatever the decisions of the government, whatever information is being stored in this data banks, and the communication is being made transparent enough. So every person, every citizen has the access to get the rightful information from these government departments. When they go to these websites of these government departments, they get the rightful information. Then we have the performance of actual performance, that is the performance of actual, that is rightful information, that is how the information has to be and when it has to be given, how it has to be, that is the performance of the employees also matters. The employees also should be accountable, and they have to work for the organization in a very strategic manner, whereby, because the in public office, the employees who are the government employees are more accountable to the people. They are more accountable to the people, and they are more and accountable to the things how they are being worked upon. So this is all about the first unit, public office administration, that is the nature, scope and importance. Next we will move on to the unit 2, differences between public office and private office. In the initial class I told you that I'll be explaining you about the private office as well. So now in this topic we will try to understand the differences between public office and private office. So now, till now, we discussed about the public office administration, the working of the government organization or a government institution, whereby the citizens are being given more priority. Now, when we talk about the differences of public office and private office, first we will try to understand public office, and we'll just try to go throw light on the history of this public office as well. Now, in the last semesters, in your first years and second year, you might have studied about the Saptanga theory or the Kautilya's theory, where Kautilya explains us about the Saptanga theory, that is the Oriental approach, or and you might have studied about the Henry Fayol's theory, Luther Gulick's, and all about these. The most important one was the Woodrow Wilson's theory of dichotomy. Or we can say that, now we all know that the father of public administration is Woodrow Wilson, and he came up with the theory and explanation about the working of the government, where he tried to explain, and why he is considered as a father, because he tried to explain that public administration is different from political science, whereby he explained that there is a thin demarcation. There is a thin demarcation between the political science and the public administration. And he also explained that the working of the government, The working of the government is the public administration. The formation of the government is political science. Political science is the formation of the government, that is, the political parties, the voting systems, the electing the new representatives, formation of the government, all this is the political science. But whereas the working of the government, that is, the working of the government offices, the hierarchy, the bureaucrats, the working culture, the usage of paper, the maintenance of the citizens, taking care of the citizens, welfare of the citizens, making or coming out with the policy, formation of the policy, implementation of the policies, or the executions. All this is being done by the subject or the discipline of the public administration, we can say. So, when we go way back in the history, Kautilya also explained that the duties and responsibilities have to be shared, have to be to have a concrete governance or to have a concrete government or a strong government. They have to have the work has to be shared. Division of work has to be shared and distribution of power has to be done. That is the delegation and the delegation of work has to be done and the distribution of decentralization of work has to be done. So, whereby this has given the scope of public office administration. So, we can say that this public office has a where we can say that this has a very in-depth history, or we can say public office has an ancient history way back in the Middle Ages or in the Kautilya's period as well. Now, when we start talk about the differences of the public office and the private office. Now, as I told you before, public office is the office which works for the welfare of the citizens, and and the private office is it has a business. It is of a business entity or a private one. So now first we will try to go for the differences. The first difference between the public office and the private office is the public office is the chief motive of a public service or a public office is public good, whereas private office is chief motive is private gain. So when we talk about public good in private office, because the government works for the welfare of the citizens, the government does not want profit. It only sees that all the citizens are good enough. They getting better facilities, the basic facilities. The prime responsibility of the private public office is provision of basic facilities to the citizens. It might be water supply, sanitation, roads, or all these are the usage of the roads or the street lights, provision of water, better drinking water, better sanitation facilities, all this better housing facilities, all these are the basic facilities which are to be provided by the government to the people. So the government office only looks up to the public good, whereas the private office, it is private. By the term only we can understand. Private means self motive. So their private organizations, they only look up to the private gain. That is, they only look up to the private gain. That is, they have to just see that they get that information, or they just look up to the private gain of the people. Profits, they have to only be in the market, be in the competition. That is the most important motto of the private organizations. Then second important difference is in public office, it is mostly found in service, developmental and business accounts, the concerns. That is, whatever the business concerns are also there, it is the public office will be for welfare of the citizens only. If it is laying of roads, if it is going and tying up with other companies also, is for the welfare of the citizens only. So to create jobs, all these. But whereas the private offices, they are mostly found in industrial or business organizations. So only they only work for their own benefits. Then the public offices, they are subject to extensive and detailed rules and regulations, whereas they are private offices are subject to professional control. The public officers have more and more rules and regulations. They have to follow a system, they have to follow the hierarchy, and they cannot go beyond the laws framed, and they cannot go beyond this. Whereas the private organizations, they frame their own rules and regulations, they frame their own salary structures, they have their own professional control. That is the most important difference we can say. Then we have the in public offices, the subject to political control, whereas this he's they we can say that they have the professional control. That is, in public offices, we see in public offices political control, and in the as I told you, political science, that is the formation of the government. Every 5 years we elect our own representatives through the vote system. Now, as we are in a democratic form of government, we elect our own public representatives, and whom we give the power to rule us. That is, that rule us means we have given them the power to take decisions on behalf of us. So they have this is termed as political control. So, whatever decisions, if a public office, if a bureaucrat wants to take any decision, he cannot take any decision unless and until it is approved by the political control. That is, the political control means the chief minister or the prime minister. Because these people, the chief minister or the government, the political heads who are in the government, the chief minister or the ministers or at the state and at the center, we have the prime minister and the ministers. They have, this is termed as political control. So they take the decisions, and they take the decisions, and everybody has to follow them. So, but whereas in the private sector, they are professional. That is, the top management will take the decisions, and the decision which is being taken by the top management has to be accepted by everybody. And it is a small thing where only few people are involved. Whereas in the government department, when the political control takes decisions, it has the implications, and it has the impact on the whole system. That is, the all the citizens of the state, the administrative system, everybody has to follow that rules and regulations. That is a very big difference between the public office and private office. Then we have that the public office is bigger in size and private office is smaller in size. As I told you, the public office is bigger in size because now, I have given you the example of education department. Now, this education department is a public office. Now, that public office has the responsibility of taking care of all the schools and colleges of the educational system of the whole state. Means everything under the education comes under this education department. So it's a very, very huge in size. Comparatively, the private organization is smaller in size. Is smaller in size. Why? Because it will have, it is only an industry or a business organization where the area might be a huge one and only 100 employees, 1,000 employees, or maybe 5,000 employees might be working. But and the decision making will be vested with the top management or the board members or the directors, and they are the heads of their own systems. So there is no anybody above them to take decisions for them. Whereas in the public office there is a separate system, or above everybody the political system is there to frame laws and also to take up the decisions. Then we have the next one is the public offices have extensive public contacts. Extensive public contacts, whereas the private offices have limited public contact. Now, public contact means all the information. Now, whenever the government comes out with a information decision, it is shared to each and every citizen. And the government also has to make sure that each and every citizen gets that rightful information. That is the reason, if you see, all the information which we get of the from the government is being posted in the news, in the newspapers, in the news. If you see the news channels, all the information related to the working of the government is being thrown on the in the public, in the media. Why? Because the public should be in contact with the government. It's a vice versa process. The government also should be in contact with the citizens, and the citizens also should be aware of the decisions of the government. So it has an extensive public contacts. Whereas the private organizations, they have a smaller contact. That is, they are related to their only to their the customers and to their competitors and to their workforce. That's all. They are only related to these many. That's all. They are not related to extensively, and they don't maintain each and everybody's contact. And it is not mandatory for them to maintain the contact with each and every citizen as well. So this is another important difference between public and private office. Then we have the next one is the government. Public office carry out work of universalist groups like government institutions, and this private offices, it restricts its restricted groups only. Now, as the government, when it carries out it works extensively all over the state, means each and every department has to be connected to one and another. So when there is a information sharing, each and every department and each and every office related to that particular department has the information has to be shared. So that can be, we can say, is an important thing. Whereas in the private organizations, we see that it is has a restricted group. That is, the information is shared to only few groups who are related to them, and who are connected to them and who have benefit with them. That they don't go extensively to more people. Then we have the we can say the public office is accountable to people and political masters. Public office is free, we can say accountable to people. As I told you, each and every decision what the government takes has to be accountable. That is, we can say it is a type part of good governance. We all know governance, good governance. Then we have this participate in this good governance. We have the elements of good governance, that is accountability, participatory, then we have transparency, equity, rule of law. All these are the elements of good governance. So, when the government wants to come up with a good governance concept, that is equal, every citizen, whatever decisions the government takes, it is accountable to the people. That is, accountable means they are answerable to the citizens. So, whatever decisions the government takes, it is answerable to the public, and whenever anybody questions the government, they have to answer them. That is accountable to the people and also as well as to the political masters. But whereas in private, accountable to management executives, that is the workforce, the high in the hierarchy in the private organizations, if the employees, the lower employees, if they are accountable, they are only accountable to the top management, and the top management is accountable to the employees who are working with them. That is, this will be a vice versa. No third person is involved in this system. So this is a restricted one, we can say. So the accountability of a private organization is an vice versa process where management is linking with the private the workforce. Then we have the next one is a public office has the management under remote control. Management under the remote control, whereas remote control means from wherever we can the government the government office will be at one place and the it can operate all over the state. The decision has to be implemented all over the state or all over the country, and that is the remote control system. Whereas in the private organizations, it is under the proximity control management, is proximity, that is the management decisions will be done with the system only within the organization. So we can say that this will help the organization to have a better understanding and better system. So the last and most important one, the difference between the public offices, more inclusive rules and regulations. That is, there are in the working of the public offices, more and more rules and regulations have to be followed. A system has to be followed, and nobody can deviate from the system. Everything has to be done in an systematical procedure. There is a protocol as well where everybody should follow the protocol, everybody should follow the system and rules and regulations. Whereas in the private organization, more exclusive rules and regulations. Exclusively means pertaining to that organization. Based on that particular organization only, rules and regulations are framed and they are being followed by that particular entity only. So these are the important differences between public office and private offices. So when we talk about these things, the public office plays a very important role in the management of the society, in the awareness, creating awareness of the citizens, and also maintaining the welfare of the citizens. That is the most important motto of the public offices. Comparatively, if we see the private offices, their motto is private gain. They are not answerable to everybody. They are answerable only to these, their system, That is, the top management is answerable to its workforce, and the workforce is answerable to its management. So it's a vice versa process. And the rules and regulations are also being here in the government sector, it is inclusive, that is within the systems, and here in the private sector, it is exclusive, that is, it is the above everything. They frame their own rules and regulations. So this is we can say that this helps the public and private organizations to have no, when we talk about these public and private organizations, the most important things to remember, whether it is a public office or a private office, an office is a place of work where the interaction between the people plays a very, very important role. That is, the interaction is the channel of communication, plays a very, very important role. And working, it is a group effort is a second important thing which has to be kept in mind. Then the third important one is the postcard, that is the planning, organizing, all these parameters have to be kept in mind when they are when an office is being organized, when the office is being set up. And when we talk about these offices, previously paper used to play a very, very important role as a channel of communication, information, or in the as a medium of information, as an instrument or a tool. But presently, we can say that the information technology, that is the usage of computers, the usage of the technology has, that is a paperless office, e-paper has paved way for better governance and better initiatives of the public office. So this is all about the unit 1. That is, in today's class we discussed about in the unit 1, that is in public office administration. We have discussed in this subject, we have discussed unit 1, that is public office administration, nature, scope and importance. And the second unit was differences between public office and private office. So this is all about today's class. Thank you.